Leo, thanks. I thought today'd be a great day to come and take a look at this beast and get a look from the outside. I mean, most of the video footage that we've seen has been from the cams on the inside, and it's really fascinating just analyzing kind of how the contact went down and how the impacts went. So yeah, I was hoping you could talk us through it.
Yeah, if it wasn't for this beast, we wouldn't have had this conversation now, would we? No, thanks for giving me the opportunity to be alive still today. Yes. No, she performed really awesome that day. Like I said, I was lucky. Other guys is not that lucky.
Yeah, look, skill set came into it as well, in a massive way.
Yeah, look, I think what happened was, obviously we know the modus operandi, how these guys operate and how would they go about their business. They knocked us exactly the same way as they do cash in transit, other soft skin escorts. So they will normally come in from the 4 or 5 o'clock area.
Yeah, you can see this impact. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, that's a 7.62 round, and that came in from your 4 o'clock. So you were driving. So there was no coming around and saying, get out. They were out to kill you. This was, let's start off by taking you out.
So the first time I knew them, and I thought, I was really awake and really aware. I was looking. The first that I knew they were there was when the cracks came out, But you're so familiar with the cracking sound. I knew immediately it's not a crack going off for
contact, gets adrenaline going.
And then, as I looked over my shoulder, I saw them, and I saw the puffs of smoke, and then the shots came in. So I think that one might have hit first, because only after about the third, fourth crack, it started hitting and impacting the windows. So then I was a bit visually impaired here because now.
Yeah, because the mirror's been taken off, but your visibility into the mirror just absolutely disappears.
So I had to bob and weave my head around. That's why in the video, I was all over the show inside, just try to keep a sort of a awareness around me. So after they've done this, obviously my plan was to ram them into the concrete barrier. So I braked hard, swerved heavily, which they managed to avoid because obviously their driver is not a first-time driver and he's well trained. So he managed to avoid contact on the initial one. And then I sort of kept on the right-hand side for a couple of reasons. And he came past me on the left-hand side.
Now, these were the guys in the Audi or in
Audi.
the double cab?
Yes.
The Audi, yeah.
Yeah, but as I kept him behind me, I saw the Ranger already pulled off the courier van, and his crew got out, and I thought maybe I had a crack at them. So I shot across the highway, and I tried to impact them. But then again, I knew my front wheel was out.
So they'd shot the front wheel out?
Yeah, one of those sweet my concern shots. Yeah. Got the wheel. I felt it pulling and there was some smoke coming out. So I went out and I thought I need to ram into the bucky as he was stationary. But then again, I had a small window of space to maneuver myself. And this thing doesn't turn like Batmobile, it's heavy and strong.
And with a tire busy deflating, it's going to be difficult.
So I had to manage, I tried to hit the bucky sort of thing. Missed all of them, and as I went around them through the gap, I think that's where either then Lloyd's window was cracked on the other side.
Yes.
And then as I passed them, the courier, the Ford came past me, and I was just a little bit off with my timing, and I knocked him in the front.
Yeah, they were moving at speed. I mean, they came past you flying.
So I knocked him in the middle of the vehicle, which made him a little bit of a snake tail, but he managed to keep it up. If I could get him onto the rear wheel tire, that was my aim, obviously. Then I was hoping to make him spin out. But he was gone then, and then I tried to figure out where the audio was. So I tried the mirror that side, my mirror all over. So the Audi tried to came past on the left. I went for him left, and he shot past me. And he's very quick on the out of the blocks, those vehicles. So as he came past me, I was a little bit late. I knocked him. I just touched his backside. So he sort of went off the road, but he managed to keep it up. Then I turned around and went highway up back to the courier van, because now there's 3 armed pedestrians on the vehicle,
Yes.
on the highway with AKs. So I thought, no, maybe I must go back, try and see where the where the crew of that vehicle was, and the robbers. And as I'm getting to the courier van again, I saw the Audi turned around and he followed me back, and he broadsided down the highway about 70-80 meters, and his crew got out as well, and they formed like a straight line on the highway. So I went for them again, and I knew they was going to shoot. I told Lloyd they're going to shoot at us, and the 2 impacts on the windscreen, that was from a guy that was elevated on the concrete barrier. He climbed on, leaned against the pole, and he was at a slight downward angle. So the impact is pretty much at a 90-degree impact on the window. So like I said, the impact on Lloyd's window, I'm not even 100% sure whether it was the first, the crew of the Bucky, the Ranger, or if it was the crew of the Audi in that moment that we went for them again that got that shot off. But yeah, then I tried to chase down the Audi, bumped him into that parking area, or the
nice
entrance of the
bollards.
But yeah, unfortunately, I made a big mistake there. I wanted to push him, keep him in the vehicle so that I can get to him. But I reversed, and as I climbed onto the curb with a forward momentum, the Bucky elevated itself, and with a forward motion, it landed belly up on those concrete walls.
And as tough as a cruiser is, it's...
But what my thought process was, I'll push it aside, or I would have probably cleared them if I didn't have the upward momentum. So, but yeah, that's how it went.
Jeez. And I mean, there were what, 13 impacts on this car. So obviously we've taken the bumper off already, a number of impacts through here. One came in through the bonnet, which was the part that connected. There's still
the bullet hole,
a nice hole in the rim over here. So it was a mix of 7.62 and 5.56. I mean, this one looks like it was probably a 5.56 round that came in through here. So that rim held up nicely. Obviously they've got run flats. And looking at the inside of the vehicle, I mean, inside and what a lot of people watching might not know is we've got an overlap system. So if a round slips in through the top of the ballistic block, it actually ends up whacking into the overlap. So that holds out pretty well. So 13 rounds and 0 penetration, which is I think the important part. So you mentioned earlier that one of the 5.56 rounds had hit up near the top over here. So this is one of the areas I think that the overlap comes into play nicely, because it kind of smacked that ballistic block, but then deflected in, and we pretty much stopped it up against that ballistic block.
Yeah, like I said, this round was 5.56. Without me even knowing it, when I got out of the vehicle, right at the end, as I got out, about 2-3 hours later, I went to the toilet, took my weapon out of my holster, and something dropped onto the floor. When I looked, it was a 5.56, the core of a 5.56 bullet. So it was stuck between the window and that overlay on the inside.
Yes, and as you opened, it just dropped into your holster.
Yes.
rather there than in you. So fantastic.
This thing is the reason why I'm still here.
Well, Leo, thank you very much. It was an honor having you in our car. Hopefully you never have to go through this again. But if it ever goes down again and you're in one of our vehicles, hey, you're good to go.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.
All right, after our chat with Leo, we decided let's bring the car to the range and do a deep dive into how we armored it and the components that we actually used and how terminal ballistics works when impacting our product. If we look at the driver door, you can see the 4 impacts, obviously major impacts here and here, and impacts on the door, impacts up over there. If we focus on the impacts in the door, the shot came from 4 o'clock. This is a 7.62 hole, substantially bigger than the 5.56. Now that would have gone in, and if we take a look on the inside, the exit hole, if it had gone through the armor, would have been about here. We've checked the armor out and there was absolutely 0 penetration. So the lightweight synthetic in a door like this works absolutely phenomenally. This particular vehicle differs quite a bit from our bespoke luxury builds where we'll build Range Rovers and Bentleys and the like. So it's a lot more utilitarian in terms of the overlap. Now, let's see what an overlap is. And this is a perfect example. 5.56 round came in and hit right on the edge of the ballistic block. That means it lost a bit of energy, but managed to sneak through right up on the top. And if we take a look closely, you can actually see that there's a hole in the glass. That round then came through and impacted our overlap system. And the overlap system is designed to do just that. It provides an overlap where the ballistic glass stops, where there would potentially be a gap. We run an overlap system, and this system covers this whole section of the vehicle. So that round impacted and stopped. And as Leo mentioned, when he opened the door, the actual 5.56 bullet dropped out and dropped into his holster. Walking around, we've got the 2 frontal impacts. Great stops, and we're going to go into depth on those in a few minutes. If we look at the impacts on the left-hand door, and this is where Lloyd was sitting, looks like a 5.56 impact, given the cracks and the like on the glass. It's pretty distinctive sometimes. So I'd say this was a 5.56. And if we look on the inside of the glass, and this is a great example, is you've got the impact on that side, and on the inside you can barely feel a bulge. You might have a millimeter of deformation over here, but absolutely nothing. The round has absolutely expended its energy, so it didn't even get close to the overlap. Right, so we're sitting inside the armored Land Cruiser, and what we're going to do now is we're going to fire a shot from a 7.62 AK-47. The round's going to be traveling at around 2,320 feet per second, and it's going to impact the glass. Now, what you can't see here is this is what the glass is made of. So this is premium Optima ballistic glass. This is some of the best ballistic glass in the world, and it's the only brand that we use. The round impacts what we call the strike face, and as it impacts, it shatters that first layer. By shattering, it's actually dissipating energy. It then gets to the second layer, dissipates more energy, gets to the third layer, dissipates more, and eventually just runs out of steam. And what's quite interesting, if I tap it, you can hear the difference. Now, what we have on the inside is a layer of polycarbonate. That polycarbonate is there to catch any shards of glass that may have been generated by the impact of the bullet impacting the strike face. So, yeah, that's how it works. Let's see it in real life. Okay, shooter, you may load and make ready. Shooter, are you ready? Stand by. Send it. Right, so the round's just impacted, and what you can see is cracks radiating out at different layers, and that's the energy dissipation. And kind of as it got closer to the end, or kind of in the center, you can see there's a lot of cracks, but radiated all the way out on the windscreen. And that was basically taking those joules of energy that were inbound and moving them out laterally. Moving my hand across this, I can feel a tiny little deformation, but really, yeah, if it's a half a mil, it's a lot. Okay, now the other guys have had fun shooting at me. It's my turn. weapon is safe. Let's go and take a look. So effectively what we've got here is this windscreen is now taken 6 rounds, mix of 5.56 and 7.62 You can see the external impact, you can see the way the glass is cracked, and what's also interesting is you can see the difference between the 5.56s and the 7.62 that energy with a heavier bullet obviously causes a lot more disruption on the glass. The 5.56, a little bit lighter, although still substantial. Right, these are the 3 weapons platforms that we use today. This is the AK-47, iconic, easily recognizable, and unfortunately thousands and thousands and thousands on the streets. This is a copy of the Israeli Galil. In South Africa it's known as the R4 or the R5. Now what was quite interesting on the impacts is that the impact from the R4, slightly longer barrel, higher velocity, was greater than the impact from the R5 which impacted next to Lloyd's head. So this is the 5.56, and then the weapon I was using is my competition 223 Stag Arms, and this is the classic AR. So generally these 3 rifles are the rifles that are probably the most well-known and the most used rifles in the attacks in South Africa, in the cash in transit type attacks, and also we're finding attacks, kidnappings, etc., on normal civilians. And yeah, just very unfortunate that this is what we need to face. The fortunate part is if you're in an Armor Max vehicle, you're good to go. We're going to stop these rounds.